All right, welcome back to another installment of our Altcoin Hunt series. Boy, do I have an interesting one for you today. It's JANITOR. So without further ado, let's jump into it, because when I first started looking at this, I thought there isn't going to be that much here, right? You look at their webpage and it's just a Twitter link, a short page, a short roadmap, how it works, and that's basically it. But when I started diving into the research, I was actually kind of shocked. I was kind of surprised. Let's get into all of that. I mean, the first thing that caught my eye was the 24-hour trading volume for this token was consistently exceeding their entire market cap of 16 million. I mean, you can see the volume right now for 24 hours, 95 million. Kind of insane. So I was like, okay, let's take a look at this. Started doing some deep dive research into it, and it's kind of an interesting project. So let's go through the categories. We'll score it up at the end, and then we'll figure out, do you need this in your portfolio? Do we need this? I mean, let's find out. Let's start off with the narrative and vision. Their core narrative is they are the AI guardian, right, of the BNB chain. It says so right here. Autonomous Oracle scanning every block. It's a crypto native AI engine on the BNB smart chain, basically designed to analyze blockchain activity and social sentiment in real time. It's a lot, but in plain English, it's basically like a watchdog or a janitor for the crypto world, right? It's cleaning up data, spotting the messes before they spread. There's going to be a lot of cleaning metaphors in this, so if that's not your thing, I'm sorry. So the things they're monitoring for, right, are new token launches, unusual wallet movements, sudden liquidity changes. They're even scanning Twitter and Reddit for shifts in sentiment. So their vision is to detect trends, risks, and anomalies across the BNB chain ecosystem and alert users early. So that's a pretty interesting vision, right? It's not your typical quote unquote meme coin. Website outlines the three phases for their roadmap. In phase one, the watcher janitor basically focuses on observing and reacting. So stuff like detecting weird gas fee spikes, tracking new meme coin launches, and influencer calls, monitoring FUD in real time, and posting public alerts and recaps on Twitter, which it's already doing. And we'll get to that. We'll take a look at it. It's been active, and it's been issuing updates on whale buys and trending tokens. So that's proof that phase one, the watcher, is basically underway, right? In phase two, the analyst, the project is like aiming to build a deeper model, producing structured token profiles, tracking which influencers call the coin early, showing their P&L, mapping whale behavior, and summarizing narrative trends. In phase three, the final phase, Janitor becomes an autonomous agent integrated into DApp and platforms, offering agent as a service tools. So AaaS, instead of like you'd hear usually about SaaS, software as a service, etc., including real-time monitoring dashboards for project teams and an AI assistant that can plug into the broader ecosystem. Starting as a Twitter sort of vigilante to a full-on AI agent for the BNB chain. I gotta say, it's clever. It taps into the meme side, it taps into the AI side, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. It tweets stuff like clean mode on and time to mop up some charts. So it shows a sense of humor. It's cute in a sense. The vision, though, promises real utility that can genuinely help traders and developers by providing early warnings of scams. You know, it's a playful meme with some serious tech intent on the inside. They did, though, I got to note this, they did launch via 4.meme. So it's a BNB chain meme coin incubator. Its quick rise did resonate with the community. The BNB chain's official account gave a shout out, including some, basically recognition for the ecosystem and the leaders. We can see it here if it'll load up. So, they did get a shout out from BNB's official account. I was honestly, when I first looked at the site, unimpressed. After kind of doing a deep dive, a little bit impressed. It's kind of refreshing. It's focused for a meme coin. There's a storyline of what they want to be. Whether or not they get there, though, that's the question. So let's score the narrative and vision. I got to give it a 17 out of 20. Let's lock it in. let's move on. We'll get into the tokenomics and supply. So let's get into the numbers, right? Let's take a look at the chart. Let's pull up the all-time chart. Let's reject the additional cookies that we don't need. So anyway, the token is a BEP20. It's on the BNB chain. It's got a billion supply. So there's a billion janitor tokens. Kind of impressively, 100% of the supply is already in circulation. So there's no additional tokens waiting to be put on the market. There are no buy or sell taxes, 0% on both sides. That's coded into the contract. So traders don't get dinged by hitting fees. That's a plus for transparency, right? The contract is also likely renounced, meaning ownership is given up, which means the developers can't suddenly change the rules or mint new tokens. All this points to a standard no nonsense type of token structure, which is, quite refreshing because a lot of meme coins do play weird games with the supply. Janitor launched earlier this month in June. It did a bonding curve sale. About 12,000 was raised in that pre-sale, which basically means the starting market cap was tiny. Once that cap was hit, the remaining tokens and raised funds were moved into a pancake swap liquidity pool, and the LP tokens were burned. So that's a big positive. It means the initial liquidity can't be rug pulled by the team since those tokens are gone forever. Moving on, there are some concerns about this. With such a low initial raise, it's unclear how the remaining tokens were allocated. Over 16,000 addresses currently hold Janitor, which is a pretty wide distribution. The community chatter on Binance forums, which I took a look at, has pointed out that Janitor supply may be heavily controlled by a market maker who pumped the price and is slowly distributing the tokens. And we'll take a look at what I actually found here. And it's, well, if I can't find it now, it's somewhere down here. So yeah, I'll try and pull it up, but there are some red flags, right? If that is true, if that case is true, then that implies that a single entity or a coordinated group could be holding a lot of those tokens and selling into the market gradually. Again, not really uncommon for meme coins, but it does mean retail holders can be left holding the bag. So there is token utility. The team hints that Janitor will grant access to features or serve as part of the ecosystem incentives. For instance, like premium analytics, meaning agent as a service, might require the token, which could drive demand beyond just pure speculation. But the details are they're sparse on that, right? There's no formal white paper. So right now, the token's value is largely driven by, the hype and the potential of another AI product. So it checks some good boxes. The Janitor smart contract audit over here, there's nothing too crazy about it being like a honeypot. Again, there is a lack of clarity on the distribution and the risk of unseen whales. So we'll give the tokenomics and supply a 14 out of 20, generally positive, a little bit of caution, right? So moving on to the tech and execution, we know the grand vision, right? But how are they doing so far? So they do have some early tech, and I'll show that right now. We'll pull up their Twitter. You can see that it's automated, right? The Twitter is run by a bot. The bot has been active, right? It's been posting some useful analytics. It does on-chain alerts, so tracking big buys and sells of certain tokens, whale wallet movements, new tokens launching. It does have KOL tracking, so they've tweeted top influencer P&L reports showing, influencers call the coin early and what those gains achieve, things like that. So from a tech perspective, phase one appears to be up and running, right? At least in a basic form. The roadmap, though, is long, right? They have really ambitious stuff, agent as a service integrated into DApps, using reinforcement learning to optimize risk alerts. All that stuff has yet to be seen. There's no public dashboard yet beyond Twitter. There's no word of partnerships with specific protocols. Essentially, the heavy lifting AI is still more a promise at this stage. It's unlikely they've built and perfected all this complex tech, meaning the 2 and 3 part of the roadmap here. So it's a little bit of a stretch, right? The absence of a white paper means we can't really audit the architecture and what it's doing behind the scenes. It raises the question, who on the team has the AI chops to actually make this happen? That's an open question, right? We don't have any info on the developers' identities or backgrounds. For all we know, they could be seasoned engineers, or they could just be good at marketing, right? So there's kind of the catch. Credit where it's due. They have delivered on phase one pretty promptly, and it's already getting some value out of that via their Twitter. Taking all of this into account, let's give it a score for tech and execution. I would say 15 out of 20, right? It does promise a lot, but what token doesn't? That's the whole point. 15 out of 20 for that. So let's look at the market and the liquidity. So again, the performance has been, it is what it is. We'll take a look at the actual chart here as well for JANITOR. This is basically since the beginning. You can see I just blocked out the beginning of it, but the market cap is currently around 17 to 20 million, and the 24-hour volume consistently exceeds. I'll put my webcam back. I don't know if you want to see that dip that got bought up. Exceeds 100 million. In fact, at one point, I think the 24-hour volume was nearly 7 times the market cap, which is a absurdly high turnover rate. That implies intense trading interest, right? Lots of folks are flipping this token for quick gains, and it's on the most visited list of CoinMarketCap. It's ranked high. It's part of the so-called 4.meme ecosystem, which has drawn in a lot of speculators. And for a brand new meme coin, getting a CoinMarketCap rank in the 800s within weeks is pretty impressive. So it shows that it kind of captured some attention, right? On the liquidity side, the primary trading venue is PancakeSwap V3, where there's about 580K of liquidity, right? The pool has about 200,000 worth of stable coins and the rest in tokens. So there's enough to handle modest trading, but large sells will move the price, right? It's a volatile meme coin, basically. So outside of that, the community and sentiment portion, JANITOR kind of thrives on hype. It had the right narrative at the start, combining AI, which is a hot trend, with memes, and launching during a BNB chain meme volume contest. So some people are excited about the contest, while veteran traders are kind of cautious. On Binance's own social feed, some users explicitly warn that JANITOR's pumped market cap might be inflated, with price raised first and then slowly distributed. So it'll make it hard for retail to make money, but it's always hard for retail to make money. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't see any issues with the short-term liquidity, though. You can trade in and out of it fairly easy. Long-term liquidity, a little bit less certain. And right now, I would give it a score of 13 out of 20 for market and liquidity. Let's go to exit risk and transparency, the last category. So transparency, it's not that transparent. There's no white paper, and the team is anonymous, at least to the public, in the public sense. That's pretty much par for the course of meme coins. You don't often get a named founder or a formal company structure. They communicate via Twitter and Telegram, sharing updates. They've been pretty transparent about what the project is doing. We don't know who's doing it. We don't know the track record of the team. That's pretty much it. The contract safety, though, on the bright side, is that blockchain scanners, I've looked at them, have reviewed the token contract and found no obvious red flags. There's no mint functions. There's no blacklist. There's no sneaky code. It's a vanilla token contract, right? The ownership being renounced, basically set to a dead address, means the developers can't change the contract logic now. So a malicious rug via code is unlikely. The bigger concern is exit risk related to human factors, namely, will the team stick around, whoever's on the team, and continue building, and what might large token holders eventually do in the future. So the project's longevity will depend on whether the devs can kind of monetize and sustain the AI platform, which means they have to hit 2 and 3 on the roadmap. So that's pretty much that. It hasn't done anything egregious yet. It's still a new token. The fact that Binance's BNB chain community spotlighted JANITOR and grouped it with other, USD1 ecosystem projects suggests some level of vetting. But remember, that can also pretty much just be marketing. On the time, my general thing with these meme coins is that on a long enough timeline, the survival rate for every meme coin drops to 0. Shout out to Fight Club as usual. In other words, if JANITOR is to escape the fate of so many hype coins, the team needs to keep building, and they need to maintain community confidence basically quarter after quarter. So given the information vacuum around the team and the known tactics in this space, I'm going to rate the exit risk and transparency at 11 out of 20. Still a solid core, but it isn't an anonymous rug pull sort of minefield, but it's also far from a fully transparent established project. So take that for what it is. The final verdict. What do we think? Let's tally up the scores. The total score is a 70 out of 100. You know, it's an intriguing meme coin. It's trying to be more funny, B&B, AI, cleaning robot, right? It's a cautiously optimistic score. You know, the project has a nice clear vision, and it does have some real tech that it's demonstrating early on, but it's far from a sure thing, right? The score is kind of dragged down by concerns over who's really holding the broom, right? Potential whale control, and whether the team can fulfill the lofty promises. It's a high risk, high reward token. That's why the score came out at 70 out of 100. You know, entertainment wise, will it make it really fun? And is it really a great meme? No, they have some interesting ideas in terms of the actual tech behind it. So there you have it. 70 out of 100 in the grand fight of, memes. It's holding its own for now, but it's still early days. So I'll be watching it closely. Obviously do your own research. It shows promise. Be cautious, as with any meme coin. That's it for this video for Janitor. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you for the next one. Thanks for watching.